Hi, and welcome to the Real Estate Playbook talk show, a show dedicated to helping renters become homeowners and making real estate simple. I'm your host, Rochelle McCrone, a realtor from Ontario, Canada, and it is my mission to break down the barriers that keep people from owning a home. If you've ever felt like homeownership is out of reach, whether because of bad credit, not enough savings, or just not knowing where to start, this podcast is for you. Each episode will dive into real estate strategies, expert interviews, and actionable advice to help you get one step closer to owning your dream home. And on today's very first episode, I wanted to take a moment and introduce myself to you, share my journey into real estate, and as well, most importantly, why I started this podcast. So let's get into it. 3, 2, 1, and we are live for the very first Real Estate Playbook talk show, and I'm your host, Rochelle McCrone, as you heard in the intro, and I am so happy that you stopped by and excited about the journey ahead. I have so many plans for you guys, and without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so who am I and why am I here talking to you about real estate? Like many of you, I didn't grow up knowing much about buying a home. In fact, I saw firsthand how challenging it could be for hardworking people to qualify for a mortgage, save for a down payment, or even navigate the home buying process without feeling overwhelmed. So I started in real estate 10 years ago. And I started because, well, my husband and many people around me said, "Hey, Rochelle, you should sell real estate." But all joking aside, my passion is to help people. And that's essentially why I decided I wanted to sell real estate. So one of the biggest turning points for me was actually maybe about 2023, 2024, in around there, when I was working with a couple of tenants. And these tenants, it was actually quite strange. Every single one of them, in the same day, were asking me, what are the steps to rent to own? And this is when it struck me. These people were really wanting to own a home and not necessarily rent a home, but the thought of home ownership was getting further and further away from them because of the rising prices. So this experience made me realize that people need more than just listings. They need guidance, education, and a clear path to home ownership. And that's exactly why I'm here. To not just sell homes, but to help people get into a position to buy one. Okay, so I created this podcast because I've seen too many people give up on their dream of home ownership just because they don't have the right information. The truth is, there are options that you may not be aware of, whether it be rent to own or first-time homebuyer programs, creative financing, or credit building strategies. This podcast is here to fill in those knowledge gaps. I'll be sharing real estate strategies, expert interviews, and step-by-step guidance to help you move from renting to owning without the stress and confusion. Each week, I will cover topics like how to buy a home with little or no down payment, rent to own, is it a scam or smart move? How to improve your credit score for a mortgage, first-time homebuyer mistakes and how to avoid them, and so much more. I want this podcast to be more than just information. I want it to be a community where we can talk openly about the challenges and solutions of home ownership. Okay, so what can you expect moving forward? Well, weekly episodes packed with practical advice, expert insights, and real success stories. Honest conversations about the challenges of home ownership and how to overcome them. And a mix of step-by-step guidance, Q&A sessions, and interviews with mortgage brokers, credit counselors, and people just like you who have successfully bought their first home. So here's my final thought. My goal is simple: to give you the knowledge, confidence, and action plan you need to finally own a home. And if you ever have a question or a topic you'd like to hear covered, I want to hear from you. Feel free to message me on either Instagram, Facebook, or even email me and let me know how I can help. Okay, so that wraps up episode 1 of the Real Estate Playbook Talk Show. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. If you're excited about what's coming, I'd love for you to do 3 things for me right now. First, subscribe so you never ever miss an episode. Number 2, leave a review. If you found this episode helpful, it helps more people discover this podcast. And number 3, connect with me on either Instagram or Facebook. I'd love to hear from you. And in the next episode, we're diving into the biggest questions in real estate. Is rent to own a scam or a smart home buying strategy? I'll be breaking down the truth and what you need to know before considering it. And I will see you next time.